up, get out right out of your bed, that's your quicksand. Getting rid anxiety and head, you can fix it. Rid of stigmas, all of them you said, we ain't listening. Just remember, try to do your best, you can win this. Maurice Benard, State of Mind.
Hello, how are you? It's been a while. It's been a while. This is State of Mind, and if you like what you see, hit the button here. I'm not going to tell you to go, keep hitting the button until we get to 200,000, because you guys are tired of me saying that, but it is very important for a lot of reasons, but it is important. Anyway, how's everything going? And who I have today is, okay, here's the deal with who I have today. She was, now, I'm going to try to narrow this down to the fact, okay? The first video I did of State of Mind was me. Wasn't that good, okay? And I think I did it, the next was, then I said, I needed to write out a monologue kind of what State of Mind is and take it in steps. And then I did that, and then that was a little better. And then I interviewed, but it wasn't really an interview with my son. It was in my house, up in the TV room, and it was just whatever it was. But you guys really dug it. That's great. And then the next one was with my wife for like 11 minutes. It was an 11-minute State of Mind. And it was like at my friend's house, and there was noise everywhere, and it sucked. But you guys loved it, which was the testament to the State of Mind audience and my audience. They just, no matter what happens, they're going to stick with it. But the first interview I did was in my apartment on couches. But it's the first interview I did with cameras, if I remember correctly. There wasn't phones. Because the other stuff I did that I told you about were on phones, And of course I did the whole thing in the car with Instagram story, and everybody's like, what the hell's he doing? Talking for 8-10 minutes on but it worked. But with this person, this actress, it was first time with cameras. I was nervous. I really was very nervous. Because you have to understand something. I didn't know whether I could do it. What made me think that I could do this, right? I mean, I'm an actor. I don't interview people. But what I said was, I'm going to treat this like a first date. Hi, what's going on? How are you? Where'd you grow up at? Oh, really? You grew up in that? Oh, man. Then you went to there. And that's because I'm not an interview guy. And so that's what I've done ever since. So I'm going to say her name right now, and I'm going to say that I'm very happy, and it's great that she was the first one because she's so damn nice. And it was probably made it easy for me, her being so sweet. I can imagine somebody else. I'd have been, I don't know. Her name is, you guys ready? I just did Family Feud last week. It's pretty cool. All right. RISA DORKEN.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. And I can say that and mean it. I'm doing well, thank you.
Wow. How's it feel being back after 5 years?
Yeah, I didn't realize that I was like the first on camera, like,
oh yeah, you were.
That you
yeah, there was no. And then after that, I kept going, but still on the sofa.
Yeah.
And then I went into little area in the apartment. But
Congrats on the digs. It's really nice.
yeah, this is cool. Well, what I wanted was a homey feeling, like I had at the apartment, because was my home, and my wife does it. I don't do it. She fixed it all up.
Yeah.
So with you, I'm just gonna let you take me on the ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, thanks for having me back. It's been 5 years. 5 years.
Thanks for saying yes.
2020 was when we did it. And yeah, spring 2025 now.
Give me a little of how you grew up a little bit, and then I want you to take me on the journey from the last time you did this and what has happened.
I know. Okay, so, because I remember talking with you about growing up in that first date format that we did our first time. I'll be honest, I debated going back and watching the first one.
Oh, really?
When I heard from Paula about scheduling.
Yeah.
You know, I knew for a while that I was going to come back and do this, and I was like, do I visit it? But no, I didn't.
There's no need, because
I know how I felt doing that podcast interview, and I'm in a very different place now than I was then. And so whether it be on the show, GH, or interviews, even social media posts during, I'd say 2020 through 2023, I don't really visit because it's been a journey to stability and happiness, and I don't really relate or recognize that girl. So, happy to talk about my childhood because I don't remember doing it before, but I do remember doing it before. But yes, I was born and raised in Minnesota. Then I went to a performing arts high school because my regular high school didn't graduate me on time because I was doing professional theater downtown.
Really?
So I did 5 years of high school because after the 4, even though I had great grades, I had truancy because you have to go to so many days of public school or they can't graduate you. Got through high school in 5 years, went to the Performing Arts High School for my 5th year, and I didn't need that many credits because I had done high school. So I worked as a receptionist and then went to school and did the credits I needed.
How in school were you? I just asked this question for somebody else. There's the jocks, there's the smart people, there's the cheerleaders. That's jocks. No. And then there's the people who fight like me, who are the tough guys.
Yeah.
Where did you land?
Everywhere. Everywhere. I'm a people pleaser and a very friendly gal. And at the high school I went to, you were weird if you weren't involved in a lot of things. So I did speech, I did marching band, I was on drumline. I, of course, did theater up until I decided to do professional theater outside of school. I had friends that were musicians and band geeks, and I had popular girls,
Really?
I was president of student council, so.
And then there's nerds.
Yeah, I was friends with the nerds. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I was always just in a lowrider with tough guy with trying to pick up on chicks and drinking beer.
Yeah.
That was my high school.
I went to high school with 800 people in my class. So you would go days and not see there was people I didn't know in my grade. So I was friends with everybody if I had a class with you.
So then you went to the, performing arts?
Yeah, St. Paul Conservatory for Performing Artists downtown in St. Paul. And they graduated me. I love them. They're great. They're a charter school. And a lot of great people have gone on to Broadway and professional dance careers.
Really?
It's a really good school. And so then after that, I auditioned for Circle in the Square Theater School. And I moved to New York City at 19. I did a 2-year musical theater program at Circle in the Square. And that was intense, like 10 hours a day.
No.
In the basement of a Broadway theater. Right now, Just in Time is there with Jonathan Groff. But when I was there, Lombardi was showing. It's the only theater on Broadway that's in the round. That's why they call it Circle in the Square. So it's a really cool space. They did Godspell when I was there as well.
10 hours. That's a lot. Every day?
Yeah, we're doing mask work, musical theater, music theory, Shakespeare, script analysis. We had a class just on Chekhov. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I think now and I'm like, but maybe when I was young,
Yeah.
I would have done that and thought it was the coolest thing.
Yeah. There is a wide range of people from right after high school to people who used it as like their master's program, after they did whatever.
So when you left there, then what happened?
I stayed in New York. I lived there for 6 years.
You were how old?
What?
How old?
Well, okay, I graduated when I was 20. End of 20.
Okay.
And then, I lived there, had a lot of fun, loved New York. I did a lot of background work. I got my first manager out of Showcase, my school's Showcase. We would do a scene night and then 2 songs.
Damn, you just studying like crazy. I did too, but damn.
Yeah. So I did, 2 contrasting songs at a comedy club, and they invited agents and managers. I got my first manager out of that, and I was stoked.
Damn.
And so she got me some auditions, and I started doing background work, and that's how I earned my SAG card. I don't think they do it anymore, but there was a Taft-Hartley.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you could get 3 vouchers, and then you were eligible.
Yeah.
So I did Secret Life of Walter Mitty, a Ben Stiller movie. I did Wolf of Wall Street, the Leonardo DiCaprio.
You were
Jonah
there?
Hill. Yeah, I'm in The Wedding with Margot Robbie and Jonah Hill. And
You're prettier than Margot Robbie. I'm not joking.
God bless.
You're prettier than.
That was like a really early movie for her, so she was doing like
So
American,
yeah.
but she was Australian, So I was always like,
Did you talk to them? Did you interact or?
I didn't talk to them. There was, for the wedding scene, 50, 60 extras.
Yeah.
But I think about those like 2 nights more than I should, because seeing Martin Scorsese direct.
Damn.
Yeah.
I love Martin.
Leonardo DiCaprio, taking a drag of a cigarette and his assistant running in to get the cigarette and put a piece of gum in his mouth. Like, I just love Hollywood.
Yeah. I just saw Goodfellas.
Ugh.
So freaking good,
Yeah.
man. All right, so then you got GH.
Well, okay, so I was in New York. My husband is from New York. So my dream was always New York. I wanted to do musical theater in New York, Minnesota girl, moved to New York. And then I met him, and his dream was always film and TV in LA. He wanted to get out of New York.
Now, that's who you're still married to.
Yeah. June, we're celebrating 8 years married, 15 years together.
He's your angel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Because you have Paula.
Yeah.
That once you find that person who loves you, tolerates you, encourages you.
You're in such a better place right now than I think I've ever seen. For sure, the first time we did this, you were in a different space, but you seem very just genuinely happy, right? Am I right?
I feel back to myself, and it took years to get there.
Okay, so I want to get to.
I know. Okay, we're in New York.
Okay.
I move. So my husband convinced me, let's try LA. We're going to be there for a minute. And he's going to say I'm wrong because I'm really bad with time and dates. And
So am I.
but that was probably I've been married 8 years, so 10 years? Yeah, I've been on GH 9 years. I got GH like halfway through my first year here. I moved here in August. I got GH that March. First air date, May.
Damn.
I do know dates, but I'm bad with like time span, like time going by.
You play Nurse Amy.
Yeah, I play Nurse Amy the second. There's a lot of drama complications with me being the second Nurse Amy.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah, because the original.
I only know you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Shelley Kepler originated.
Oh, okay.
Nurse Amy, the gossip.
Yeah, I get you.
And so I am not her. I'm not a recast of her, but I'm like a tip of the hat, like a nod to her. There's also a gossiping Amy now.
So I want to get to the good stuff. But GH has been great for you. You're able to, especially at the nurses' ball, obviously.
Yeah.
You're the one that's always the singing and whatever, the whole thing, performing. It's great. This nurse's ball was great. Yeah, I mean, Frank's great, right? Frank Valentini.
Yeah, this was my 7th ball in 9 years. Because what? We didn't do it 2021.
Yeah, I think so.
And then 2024 because we had the wedding last year.
Right.
Yeah. So out of 9, I've done 7. I've been in the opening number 7 times.
Opening number 7 times?
Yeah.
Damn, see, people? So, okay. Push that out. Let's talk about, since you did State of Mind, what is going on with you and your mental health or anything else?
Yeah.
Let's get in that.
Because it's all tied together.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
what I'm saying.
Yeah, once you get diagnosed, or I'll say you, but I try to be intentional with my language, and it's been brought to my attention that I say you instead of me when I talk about this. But so throwing that out there, I acknowledge
So
that.
you're bipolar.
I'm bipolar. I have bipolar 1.
Hi, I'm bipolar too.
Yeah.
No, I'm bipolar 1.
As well. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and I do think that's important because they manifest very differently.
What's the difference?
I don't tend to be, but my episodes air towards mania, excitement. I go high energy instead of depressive. I clean a lot. I don't sleep.
But isn't bipolar 1 where you're hospitalized?
That's psychosis. Yeah, if you ever experience psychosis even once, for more than a week, you're bipolar 1. Yeah, but if you, go through the cycling episodes of mania and you have depressive states and you've never experienced psychosis, you don't hear voices, and there's people way more educated on this than I am.
Or I am.
Yeah. But
I think I'm for sure I'm bipolar 1, but my bipolar is manic, right? Very high energy, like I don't know, but it's the truth. If you've done cocaine, it feels like that.
Yeah.
You're like boom, 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 everything. Even talk different sometimes, and you don't want to buy stuff. You want to and then I was in the mental institution, but that's another story. Then I was depressed.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
Every time I go up, I go crash down bad.
Yeah.
You too?
My downs are always
Not as bad?
no medically induced. I will say.
What do you mean medically induced?
And that's where I was the first time I did the show. I feel like, okay, so I have a medication that if I ever feel I'm revving up or, it puts a stop to it. And in that state, I'm kind of not cold, but flat. That's the word they use, flat. I feel flat.
Oh, you're a bit comatose?
Yeah. I'm a vegetable. I'll go out to dinner and converse, but I might fall asleep at that table at 7 p.m.,
Oh, with that medication.
Yeah.
I don't want that stuff.
So, and that's what they had. That's what they had me on a lower dose. That medication I take in case of emergency now, but right after I had 250/150 holds and got sent to psych facilities. There's no option. They don't want you to hurt yourself.
No, of course.
Just stopping it and slowing you down, in my case, is the best option. So yeah, for almost 2 years, I was low level, just getting by, just white knuckling it.
Like lethargic, like that. I hate that side effect. You take this stuff, and then you feel like kind of like just
you're walking
no energy.
through water.
I don't want. Wow.
Gravity feels like it's getting.
But why didn't you
you.
take something else that maybe didn't make you feel like that?
And that's I think a lot of people's problem and why they're not medication. Sorry, I struggled to come up with the right words, but again, because my mind is slower than it used to be.
Well, mine is too. Yeah.
Yeah. Why people don't take their medication often is because they'll feel flat.
Exactly.
They get on the medication. The psychiatrist says, give it 3 to 6 weeks, and it's like, okay, week 2, You have no sex drive. You
Right.
are falling asleep at dinner.
Right.
You can't get out of bed. Not because I had depression, but because bed felt so comfortable. I was dealing with tardive dyskinesia, the
Never heard
TD.
that.
It's involuntary muscle spasms that psych meds can cause. And so it was in my back.
Okay,
And
Risa, hold on for 1 second,
I
please.
was navigating a lot.
Okay, listen to this. Okay. And nobody really knows this, but, you know, I'm an open book.
Yeah.
So I've been having problems. I went through a major thing early this year, like a trauma with anxiety, and it was bad. I had to not go to work for a while.
Yeah.
I don't do that. Okay, fine. And then they put me on this medication, okay? Mentally, I'm great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm strong. I feel great. But I'm feeling like my balance is off and nerves.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
I mean, a general overall, I'm unsure. I know TD is a specific repetitive, uncontrolled spasm. So, like, if your foot was always doing that, that could be
It doesn't
it.
always do it, but it does do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying always, but it will, you know, like I grab something, my hand's shaking,
Yeah.
but almost like clicking.
Right.
It isn't like click. And then my knee, these fucking people, it's good for you to, maybe you have the same thing. So what do you think it is?
I mean, it could be that, but anytime I bring up, like, that could be viewed as a side effect, right?
Of the medication?
Right. Yeah. So is that the pro versus the con, you know? I would rather have my personality, have my mind than, and, you know, luckily I don't have
Yes,
the
that's
spasms
kind of
anymore.
where I'm at,
Yeah.
like you just said.
So it's like, if it's in your body, a good fit, and you feel the best you have in a while, then that's your med for the moment. But yeah, if you think you could physically feel better, you can try something new. You should try something new.
Well, what I wanted to do, here we are talking about it, they're listening. What I wanted to do is go off it and then see if that's it.
Yeah,
If I go off it and it doesn't do it anymore, we know what it is.
right.
I
But
know.
then you can't go off everything all
No,
together.
not-
So then you go on something else, and it's like, what is that going to do to you?
Well, okay. This is interesting.
Okay.
This is a great talk for me especially. Lithium, I'll never go off
Okay.
because I've been nervous breakdown free, manic episode free for 32 years. It's the greatest. And I want to speak to you about something else too, since we're talking about this. And could get myself in trouble, but I don't know. Somebody I know said that lithium, Big Pharma, does not like lithium. I said, why? He said, because it works and it's cheap. Okay? And I said, really? Now, you have to understand, on my book, it says lithium and love saved my life. So, but maybe I'm not big enough yet for them to care. But I'm also taking this stuff for my skin. I had psoriasis all over, right? And my psychiatrist said, hey, try krill oil for your high cholesterol. I said, all right. So I tried this krill oil. My psoriasis is gone. You're going to tell me that in 40 years, no one's known about this krill oil? And you know the amount of money I've paid for trying?
Yep.
So there we go. That's all I had to bring that up.
Yeah. What a cured patient is, there's a phrase on that. A cured patient is a patient lost or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have to figure out what works, what doesn't work. You're absolutely right in if you feel great, like I feel great, and I'm a little bit affected by this thing, I can live with that.
Yeah.
Now, answer me something, because you would know. If you're taking a medication, forget bipolar. just for anxiety, let's say. If you're taking something for anxiety and you stop taking it, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have anxiety. I think. Yeah.
It depends on what triggers your anxiety, I would say.
What I'm saying is if everything seems to be going really well
Yeah.
with anxiety and I'm not triggered, I always keep wanting to get off the medication.
Yeah.
That's not lithium, because I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
I can't have a manic episode. We're all done.
Yeah.
But for anxiety, was on Lexapro, got off that. It saved me. It really did save me. But then I just got up, and now what I'm on now, I kind of want to get off too.
Yeah.
But my wife's like, honey, 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 honey.
I used to not want to take anything. I didn't take Advil.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't take Tums
Oh.
until my diagnosis. And then I don't even let myself think about going off. And it's like, doesn't even dawn on me. It's just what I have to do if I want my life to go the way it is, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I will say, 5150 holds have a good way of like scaring you straight.
But how long did you have to stay in the
What? The mandatory 72
Yeah.
hours, both
Oh,
times.
72.
So what? I got released the first time, convinced the psychiatrist I'm good, let me out. And then, within days, I was back at a different place because they my husband called, they take you, and it's just wherever they have a bed. And LA is kind of chaotic, but... So I drove in like one of those van ambulances, like 2 hours out to the desert. Because it was not voluntary, involuntary.
Yeah.
So you're going wherever they put you, and I'm fixing to not go back to one of those. So I'm gonna stay on my meds.
Yeah, those things like what I was in a county hospital first.
Yeah.
And then the mental hospital, and I was like the Jack Nicholson in there. Of One Flew Over the
How's
Cuckoo's
that?
Nest. You ever see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's
A
Nest?
long time ago.
Okay, he was in a mental institution.
Yeah.
But he wasn't that.
Yeah.
Like other people are. Like,
Yeah.
But I was not. I didn't. I was not all there.
I felt the same way.
Right. But everybody else is like. Yeah. And I ended up escaping. But all right. So what happened? What's the stuff that
I know, we're all over.
No, I love this. Freaking great. I love this talk. You went to 3 ER trips for what?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So once I was diagnosed bipolar, it kind of unearthed a whole lot of.
Did you feel good
diagnosis.
diagnosed with bipolar because MAURICE BENARD is dead?
Yeah, I was like, yes, I'm finally in a cool club. Thank God. No. But what? I learned I had ADHD, insomnia. You find once you start
weren't sleeping.
Oh, I still struggle to sleep. Because my mind is racing all the time.
I'll tell you, the pill that I'm taking is for sleeping and anxiety.
Yeah.
And I'll give it to you if you just But I sleep like a baby. There was a point where I was not sleeping like for 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
And it started scaring me.
Yeah.
So now I've been sleeping like a baby. That's one thing I do great.
Yeah. There was a time I was taking like 40 milligrams of melatonin, which is a lot. I don't know if you're familiar with.
Yeah, I know melatonin, but that's
yeah,
natural.
and it was doing nothing. Yeah, that's just it though. Is I was like, I didn't want to take a prescription sleeping pill.
You don't want to take Xanax.
That gets chaotic, but
That's scary stuff.
No. I forget what. Diagnosis. Yeah, all that. So what? One of the side effects of psych meds is stomach problems. So for years and years, I had stomach problems. Anxiety, but also your meds can mess with your digestion and how your body feels. And so I, for a while, was like, something is off. But again, I weighed the pros and cons. I was like, my mind is clear. My personality is back. So I can handle diarrhea every so often, right?
Yeah.
But it got worse. Eventually, for like a year, 8 months to a year, this past year, I would get excruciating pain. And I've never had a heart attack, but I was certain it was like heart attack or heart attack level. And like I said, I took 5 years to graduate high school, so I'm not super great at anatomy. So I'm just like, I would go to the doctor. I went to the doctor, and I said, I have pain. I have pain here often when I eat, when I go to the bathroom, sometimes when I'm just sitting, and it's excruciating. And, cut to long story short, very long, is months long, and lots of doctors. I did CT scans, MRI scans, all this HIDA scans. Everything said I was fine. I was healthy. They're telling me you have anxiety. Like, yeah, that can upset your stomach. They're looking at my chart, and I don't want to project, but they see a female with mental conditions, okay? So every specialist I went to, they said, try to reduce your stress. Try to sleep more. And I'm like, you guys, this level of pain is not normal. Like, I know my body well enough. And they say women have higher pain tolerances than
threshold,
men.
yeah.
So I'm like, I'm telling you, like, this is, like, you can take my word for it. Ended up needing my gallbladder out. I just wanted to get to the end of it. But okay, so I went to one hospital. I had gone to all these specialists, did the CT scan, MRI scan, HIDA scan. Everything said my insides were healthy. I'm normal. I'm great. Okay. So my husband's out of town. I am on the floor puking bile.
No.
Bright yellow bile. And I've been there for maybe 5 hours. I'm texting my mom. I'm like trying to call my husband. He's on a work trip, I think in Vegas. And I never drive. Even today, my husband drove me here, and I live like 15 minutes away. Not even. And so it's like 2 a.m. in the morning. I've been puking bile. I like have no physical strength. I got myself to the kitchen because I'm a little bit of a neat freak and I didn't want puke everywhere. So I crawled off the carpet and got to the hard floor because I was like, we'll deal with this later. And I drove to the hospital. And again, I waited and, they ask you your pain, blah, blah, blah. And they did no scans. They looked at my chart.
Jeez.
They say, I think maybe it's food poisoning. And the other symptoms you're describing, it seems like anxiety. So I'm like, okay. I go home. No pain meds, no nothing. And like a week goes by, I'm getting these intense things, but like girls know, with their periods and everything, you figure out a way to be in the worst pain of your life and still go about life. So I did that for a while. Seeing other doctors.
That pain is still there.
Yeah, it's like in between my sternum, under my bra. It's just, again, I don't know what organs are there at the time, but I knew something was wrong. And so for months, I'm like still occasionally trying to see specialists. I go to a gynecologist because I'm like, is it a lady problem? I don't, the general doctor, the gastroenterologist, all these people checked off, no problem. So then I go to the ER again. I have my husband take me to the ER, like planned one day. I'm like dressed and I'm going to present myself as a human and tell them like, this is what I'm going through. Take me serious because I brought him. And they did. It was Christmas week, this past Christmas. It was, I don't know how hospitals are around the rest of the country, but this hospital, I waited out in the parking lot. It was still like pandemic times to me. Like they are so slammed. Like shout out to medical professionals because the hospital scene is wild right now. And so, I ended up getting seen. They decide it's your gallbladder. We're going to cut out your gallbladder. Yada, yada, yada.
But nobody saw that before?
No, all the scans were fine. So once they did take out my gallbladder, they tell me and my husband the gallbladder was so infected that it basically disintegrated when we took it out. And no scan, no thousands of dollars, hours of my time, nothing showed that. And I was like rotting from the inside out, like for almost a year. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, before that, I did have gallstones. I didn't know it. But, they found those in retrospect after. So, like, those were probably causing me discomfort leading up to it.
What the?
But the extreme pain I was feeling was complete blockages in my bile ducts. And that's why I was puking bile, because it wasn't flowing.
Wow.
So, yeah. Got the gallbladder out. But, yeah. Okay, so then got the gallbladder out. Ended up developing jaundice.
Oh, my. Okay, go ahead.
Got jaundice, woke up the next day after my surgery and had bright yellow eyes, bright yellow skin.
No.
And I was like, did I get a tan? And then my husband saw my eyes and he was like, okay, we're calling the hospital. So I went back to the hospital and they were like, shoot, we forgot the biggest gallstone in your bile duct. We can see it. And like, this never happens when it happened to you. And so then I get an ERCP, which is down you're put under anesthesia, but they go down your throat and they use high pressure water to blast the gallstones out. Did that, and the guy said, oh, it was the craziest big gallstone I have seen in so long that we struggled to get it out. Again, no scan ever showed this. Okay, weird.
Yeah.
And in doing so, we had such a hard time that we damaged the wall of your bile duct. So I wake up the next day after the ERCP, and I developed pancreatitis.
Oh, my.
And honest to goodness, pancreatitis is the most pain I've been in my whole life. And the way I was like in the bed and breathing, the nurse said I was laboring like I was in labor for like a couple days. Yeah, just like there's nothing you can do except let it pass, and they give you some pain meds. But yeah, and it's just an angry pancreas. Damn. So you just have to wait for it to get happy.
But
yeah.
But they I'm gonna tell you a little story too about doctors. They didn't know this.
No
like maybe
skin.
6 months. Maybe they could have prevented a couple of months of pain.
Yeah.
Or maybe 6 months.
No, the only thing was I kept getting blood work and my white blood cells were wackadoodle the whole time. So they're like, your body's fighting something. We don't know what. And so I was like, I'm going to figure out what, because you guys aren't feeling what I'm feeling. And as long as the blood work showed that something was up, I was going to stay on that quest. But I did get to that point, talking to my psychiatrist, I would cry because I had 8 different doctors telling me nothing is wrong. Damn. So I got to the point where I'm believing that this pain isn't real. And I was like, this seems like extreme heightened pain to be imaginary.
Yeah.
But as someone who's experienced psychosis, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Your brain can convince you anything.
Of course, but it can convince you in a positive way too, right?
Sure.
So that's fucking crazy. Doctors are, look, I'm not saying all doctors, I'm not saying, but what she just went through and what I'm going to tell you right now is life and death. That somebody's not really seeing something. Or you'll see what I tell you. About 11 months ago, I went through some real tough time, trauma. I was in bad shape, mentally, could have gone out of the way, you know what I mean? So I went to a doctor. And it was recommended by someone. So he walks in, I'm sitting there, and he says, what is it you want? Now, I'm like as fragile as you can be. If this had been Maurice at 100%, I would have said, did you just say something, dude? Or whatever I would have said to him. But he's like, he started basically humiliating me. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not sick. Mm-hmm. You just want drugs. And he didn't stop. I couldn't believe it. Now, the thing that's wrong about that, especially your stuff, is you could say the wrong thing to the wrong person, and he's dead. He's dead.
Yeah.
And the reason that I am still here after leaving his is because I had friends with me 24/7. It's wrong. It's really wrong. And I'm not saying all doctors are this way, but I'm just saying for any doctors out there who may be watching, just be careful. You never know who you're talking to.
Yeah. You have a lot of individual power.
Yes. Yes. Even though I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. Wow. But I think the positive in it is that you did go through that and you did it.
Yeah.
And you have to feel like it's a badge of honor, right? There's a certain...
I feel more like a badass than ever. Like, I'm telling and you're like, I can see the difference in you. I can feel the difference in you. Like, the last 5 years, I am telling you,
Wow.
you can't surprise me. You can't tell me any, fans messaging me, friends coming to me. I tell them, you can't tell me anything that I think is crazy.
Right.
There is nothing.
Right. There is a certain, as I think everyone should feel, because a lot of times when we're in things, we think it's the worst thing in the world, and it may be, and it's, especially in our heads.
Yeah.
But the reality is, we will get through it because everything passes.
Yeah.
And then you'll feel like, you know, you've accomplished this thing. You feel like a champion.
Yeah.
It's the people who are amateurs that don't. They go a different way.
Yeah.
The champions go this way. The amateurs go that way.
Yeah.
And right now, you seem to me like a champion
Yeah.
because you experience what you experience, which I don't know if I could experience that pain. I mean, I have my own type of pain, you know.
Yeah.
But that's like freaking hard.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to go dive into it, but to be kind of frank, there was a time when I had psychosis that I thought death wasn't real, you know. The idea of it, I could talk to people who were dead and stuff, and I didn't think I could die. And so kind of now I'm able to look at the more beautiful side of that, and nothing scares me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, even while I was in the hospital, I remember getting anesthesia for getting my wisdom teeth out, you know, and I was so scared at 17 or whatever. And this time I was just this is what has to be done. We're going to do it.
Damn, man.
Because I've seen a lot and my heart has been through a lot. So I'm this is just a vessel. Let's keep it. Let's do the upkeep we need for her to keep going and enjoying life with my husband and LA, you know, this was our dream, is our dream. So it's
Yeah, because, you know, it's funny, just watching you now. And maybe I'm not maybe I'm wrong. But before, you had this thing, you know, happy always. But I always believed it was to cover something, right? You know, I always thought, there's something, it can't be that. Whereas now, it's coming from just so genuine.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing to witness.
Yeah, it brought a lot of empathy because I see people, you know, being unkind or, you know, thinking I'm full of shit because I'm always so nice and energetic or whatever. And it's no, the thing is, I realize how lucky I am. I realize you might be going through something. The way that it's manifesting, you doing this, this, and this. I've been in enough therapy and, you know, I know the signs that I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So it's
All right. I want you to ask me 3 questions. That's a new thing I'm going to be doing on State of Mind. Or not 3 or 2 or 1. It doesn't matter. We've had such a great conversation. Well, I'll say it after. Ask me a question.
Okay, I have a question. Kind of related to the doctor thing and people believing you and gaslighting you and all that. Do you feel like people judge you to this day for your diagnosis for being bipolar? Do you feel like it hinders jobs or opportunities because they Google your name and that's what comes up?
Yeah, I don't feel that at all. But that's what I was told early on as I got into acting: is don't say you're bipolar because they won't hire you because they think you're going to go crazy on the set.
Yeah.
And then I got GH, and then all that went out the window. And I've been talking about this for 32 years publicly. Oprah was the first big thing that I did, talking about it. And I think it's now become, thank God, since the pandemic, it's hip.
Yep.
It's hip.
Yeah.
Now it's not, hey, you're crazy. Now it's, hey, you're bipolar. Now it's become out there and it's great. And the only thing that's sad, I always say, is the suicides. Mm-hmm. Way more. Too many people killing themselves, man. And I'm trying to help that, but it's tough. It's tough to. That's the only thing. But other than that, it's cool. Mm-hmm. One more and then we're good.
Okay. Kind of what we were talking about before we started filming this. You said you've done 453.
Yeah, over 400, yeah.
Yeah. How do you not take on people's energy as they divulge their life stories to you and their pain? And
Yeah, I mean, I do take it on. And because if I don't take it on, it's kind of like acting.
yeah.
When my mom used to say, can't you just do it at 50%? I said, Mom, I can't do that. I've tried it. It doesn't work. It feels weird. In here, I have.
They feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I take it on, and it's I have to do the work outside of here. Therapy. I got a psychiatrist. I have a mat that I bought with infrared mat. So I just started acupuncture. Mm-hmm. So you have to keep doing the work outside of here so this doesn't. But it's not really that bad. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll cry in here and it's like, it's deep, but maybe it's a release.
That's a good point, but sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off. Between this and your material on the show, you have a lot of heaviness in your life.
Yeah, it's like I've worked on at acting wise when I do the stuff. By the time I get downstairs, I want to be laughing, music, thinking about other stuff, and not you know what I used to do. This is what got me when I started the show, and then I quit the show after 3 weeks, right? Because I had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
I used to go to work, listen to like the Godfather theme,
Yeah.
and have a poster of Al Pacino's face,
Yeah.
and then go up work, and then when I'd come down, I'd do the same thing. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That's a technique. That's a method. Yeah.
But it's not healthy.
Yeah.
You think it's healthy. It's healthy. It's cool for the acting, but not healthy for life. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have a therapist. I didn't do what I should be doing like you've done now. So, all right, I just want to say, and I haven't seen this one, but RISA came in here. If you this one, and I know it because I watched her and I listened, but if this should really be out there, this show with RISA, because if you're bipolar, if you have anxiety or depression, this is like a great feast. to watch her and I'm bipolar, she's bipolar, and we were just going back and forth like a good tennis match. And the beautiful thing about it, even when I was watching her in here, I said, so many people are going to learn so much out of this. That's what was going on in my head. I said, so many people are going to learn so much. Because she just spitted it out, almost like Eminem as a rapper. Bop, bop, bop. And stuff that we all should hear if we have mental health. I think it was just amazing, and I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
State of mind, people. You're going to watch this one.